So, I made an assumption. Oh, not again. Yes, and I made an important decision purely on my assumptions. That's too bad. Oh. Assumptions are often wrong. They are misleading, they cause pain and hurt, and yet many people still make them. But why? Why is this? There are so many questions and no answers. Now I'm going to explore what are assumptions, why people make them, why they are so dangerous, and also I'm going to give you a real life example, and this example will show us some terrible consequences of making wrong assumptions. An assumption is a willingness to accept something as true, with very little or without any proof, facts or understanding. Assumptions are feelings and imaginations, but the most damaging and dangerous thing is to make conclusions, judgments, decisions, or criticizing or blaming someone purely on assumptions, without any proof, facts, or deep understanding. Assumptions are almost always wrong, but they can cause unrepairable damage or hurt in any relationship. Assumptions are made when we do not have answers, facts or understanding, and we are unwilling or unable to ask for or investigate the facts. It is okay to make assumptions, and we all make them to a certain degree, but it is the question of how these assumptions are used. And if used incorrectly, it can be a very damaging and dangerous thing. Our brain is designed to make assumptions, looking for answers to fill the blanks. They are easy to make, as all you need is an incomplete piece of information about something, and sometimes you need no information at all. They lead to people having wrong idea of someone or something, which, for instance, can unfairly damage someone's reputation. They also make you draw a wrong conclusion. They make you unnecessarily judgmental. They promote a transfer of wrong information. And finally, they break relationships and hurt others. This example will show us how dangerous and damaging it is to make wrong assumptions, then blaming, criticizing and accusing someone based on assumptions, and what impact it has on relationships. This example was spread over almost 5 months period, but I will cut the story as short as possible. Imagine the Department A, business, and Department B, outsourcing. While business was responsible for the start of the process, outsourcing was responsible for the end of the process and thus the final results. But the results were not delivered by more than 40%, so the tensions were growing. This process was very large and complex, with many steps and teams in between, spread across various countries and continents, involving over 200 people. As the business was heavily relying on and impacted by the results, they spent 3 months blaming the outsourcing, criticizing them, shouting at them, undermining them, or even judging, saying that how terrible, incompetent and useless they are. The atmosphere was very uncomfortable, negative, tensed and shocking. Not only the process, but mainly relationships suffered and were damaged. There was also noted a loss of trust and respect. My role was in the middle to monitor and oversee the process. We could all see that it is not working. More than 40% of results were not delivered, but we didn't know what the real issue is. Therefore, I was assigned to deal with it, and I performed a root cause analysis. The process was about digging deeper into the issues to find the root cause. Otherwise, it is called the 5 whys process, asking why until you get to the bottom of the issue. It took 3 months to finalize it. The root cause analysis surprisingly exposed that while the outsourcing was responsible for the outcome, they could not deliver it as they didn't have the initial information or inputs which should be provided by the business at the start of the process. Now imagine the situation when I was announcing the investigation results. There was a big meeting with many people and there was a total silence and shock as people who were blaming, criticizing, shouting at the beginning were the ones who were actually responsible for not delivering the final results, as they were often failing to provide the inputs at the start of the process. Of course, we then implemented some corrective actions and the process was improved very quickly in no time, but there was a bigger challenge with the broken relationships. The questions were, for instance, can relationships be still restored? How long will it take? Will apology be sufficient? Etc, etc, etc. It was very uncomfortable for everyone, but finally the relationships were restored and trust with respect was rebuilt. But it took many weeks and months to get to that point. When you make an assumption, it is better to never criticize or blame others, never jump into conclusions, never judge others, or never make an important decision that would impact others, because assumptions are often wrong and the damage you can cause in relationships might be irreversible. It is always better to be silent until you collect facts, details and gain full understanding before reacting. Thank you and goodbye.